people, it's me, Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new recent reads video. The first book on this list is called The Lost Compass. For those who don't know, this is a sequel to The Fog Dival, which is a middle grade fantasy series that I started last week. And this sequel is the conclusion because this series is a duology. Anyway, this book was so good. This book is such a solid sequel. I really enjoyed how the author crafted these characters and the world building and the action-packed, fast-paced plot. There was never a point in time where I wasn't as invested in the story as I was earlier. You know what I mean? This book is so good. I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the dichotomy between the world building in this book and the world building in the previous book. You know what I mean? This book is so good and it's so underrated. And for what? I know that I say that all the time. The word underrated has probably lost its meaning at this point. But anyway, this series is so good and it's so underhyped, and I rated this book 4 stars because I enjoyed this book just as much as I did with the prequel. So with that, I highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Amari the Night Brothers. This book is middle-grade fantasy and follows Amari, who finds a fantastical world that's connected to her brother's disappearance. I enjoy this book. I like the action-packed, fast-paced plot. I enjoy the world building, but however, I found myself being more invested in what was happening than who it was happening to, if that makes any sense. Basically, I wasn't really emotionally attached to the characters. You know, like they felt well developed and like well fleshed out and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, the writing in this book is so good and well done, and I definitely think that there are many people out there who would definitely really enjoy it. Like, I definitely understand the hype. I just don't agree with it personally, because personally I wasn't really emotionally attached to these characters, and frankly, I don't think that I'm going to continue this series, but I definitely would have, like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So essentially, I rated this book 3.5 stars because I enjoyed it, but I didn't absolutely fall in love with it the way that I really wanted to. So with that, there's that. The next book on this list is called Being Miss Nobody. This story is middle-grade contemporary and it follows Rosalind, who's selectively mute, and who creates a blog that becomes her safe space until it isn't. This book is so good. The selectively mute representation is so well done, and I really enjoyed it. The amount of books that I've read with selectively mutism representation are so few and far between. I think the only one that I can remember before this is A Quiet Kind of Thunder, which is also really underrated. But anyway, Being Miss Nobody is so good. The plot of this story is so well done and so intriguing. The main character is such a wonderful, lovely character and such a lovely person. You know what I mean? Like, she's the type of person that I would want to be friends with. Like I said, the representation was so well done. The characters were so well done. The plot is so intriguing. This book is so underrated. And for what? So with that, I rated this book 4 stars and I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Seafarers Kiss, written by Ember. This story is a YA fantasy sapphic retelling of The Little Mermaid, and I really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving this story 4 stars. I had really low expectations for this story because I've read Ruin Song by this author earlier last year, and that book was good, but it was not great. So I was not expecting this book to be great. This book was so good. I really enjoyed it. The world building hooked me in immediately. I really enjoyed the sapphic romance. It was done so well. Even though this is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and I kind of knew what was going to happen next, because, you know, I'm familiar with the original story of The Little Mermaid. I've seen the film. I know what's going to happen. This story was so good. It really gave me, like, more insight into, like, the mermaid world. You know what I mean? The Disney film, it doesn't really give you. You know what I mean? This book is so good, and it's so underrated. And for what? It's absolutely so good. It's just so wonderful. The only criticism that I really have is that I felt like it needed about 100 more pages, because this story overall felt really short and abrupt, and I really wanted more development from the characters and from the romance, but still overall I did really enjoy it. So with that, I gave it 4 stars. I would highly recommend it if you're looking for some sapphic YA fantasies. The next book on this list is called Forever or a Long, Long Time. This book is so good. I absolutely really enjoyed it. This story is middle-aged contemporary, and it follows Flora, who's a foster kid with her brother, and they both want to desperately believe that they are in their forever home. This book is so lovely and so wonderful. Flora's perspective felt so real and realistic, and I felt so sympathetic toward these characters, and it just gave me insight as to what it's like to be a foster child. You know what I mean? And it just made me feel for them. The story is so well done, and it's so underrated. And for what? I really enjoyed the plot and the world building. This book is so good. It really said fall from the tree too. You know what I mean? This book is so good. I really enjoyed it because it was just so lovely and wonderful, and I just really felt for the characters, so we love to see it because I was just so emotionally attached to these characters, and I was rooting for them every single second of the way, and I was just so afraid but happy to see how the story was going to end up. You know what I mean? So basically I gave this book 4 stars because it was absolutely so amazing, and I was so hooked every single step of the way. So with that, I highly recommend it. So in conclusion, the book that I liked the most on this list was Forever or a Long, Long Time, and unfortunately the book that I liked the least was Amari and the Night Brothers, but I highly recommend all the books on this list. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below your opinions on any of these books if you've read them before. Comment down below why you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!